everybody, I'm Nick!
And I'm Jeffrey!
You weren't expecting that, were you?
I was not, no.
Hi everybody, I'm Nick.
And I'm Jeffrey.
And this is a special little episode of Unwind, Rewind, where it's just going to be a Wajja Watch thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, remember like 2 or 3 episodes ago when we promised you this?
Yeah.
It's happening.
Well, we're...
right now.
We are acting on our promise.
Yeah, it's 2 weeks late, but...
But you know what?
You know what? That's how we roll.
Beggars can't be choosers.
So, this episode will hopefully be under an hour long.
Yeah.
And we're not going to talk about news or anything like that. We're just going to talk about the crap that we have seen over the past 2 weeks.
Oh, yes.
That's not all crap.
Not all of it.
Most of mine is crap.
Yeah. 3.
So, if you didn't watch a couple episodes ago, or have simply forgotten, we had a bet about the Oscars. Was that it?
Yes.
Yeah. And
the Oscars.
The Oscars. Where we put together a little competition between us, guessing who would win the Oscars and etc.
Yeah. And
the loser had to...
sit through a movie that...
Yeah, like, we had to go to Walmart, and the winner would pick a terrible movie from the $5 movie bin.
Yep.
The loser would have to buy it and watch it.
Yep.
And review it for Wajja Watch. Now, unfortunately, both of us tied, so we decided we would both buy each other a really terrible movie.
Yes.
And punish each other.
Yep.
And...
It's funny. Continue.
And... punishment was made.
Yep.
There was punishment.
Yeah, I cried.
It was terrible.
I cried.
Did you?
I wanted to. Watching this at work with other people, knowing that other people were watching it, it's awful.
For Jeffrey, I bought him the worst movie I could find in the bin. Jack and Jill, that Adam Sandler dresses like a woman.
Yep.
Terrible. I think it got, like, worst movie of the year for 2013. Did it?
Honestly, yes. I watched why. I saw every single last reason as to why it did.
Yeah, so, and then, Jeffrey...
I bought you LOL.
LOL.
LOL. With Miley Cyrus and Demi Moore in a romantic comedy.
Yeah.
That would last the ages.
That would last throughout the ages.
Yes.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So, let's talk about those first.
Yeah, let's do that.
Jeffrey, what did you think about Jack and Jill?
I wanted to claw my eyes. You don't understand. I'm not even going to tell you a rating until I get through all of this. But I'll go ahead and tell you a quick synopsis of this film. Basically, Jack and Jill are twins. They're brother and sister. Jack is living his life in, I wanted to say Los Angeles or some weird place or whatever, and Jill lives her life in the Bronx, because you will be reminded throughout that entire movie that she is from the Bronx. Because not only does she say it, but other characters say it, and one in particular that falls in love with her because she's from the Bronx, that I'll get into later when I talk about this star-studded cast that came out of fucking nowhere. So Jill is coming up to see Jack for their birthday kind of thing, kind of celebration that is close to Christmas and like, I don't know, it felt like there was so many different fucking holidays that were going on in that film, it was hard to keep up.
At the same time? At
the same time, because at first it was like the birthday, and then they were talking about Thanksgiving, apparently they were Jewish, so they were going about Hanukkah, and somehow, New Year's Eve was thrown into this, and they were on a cruise. I don't fucking know. It was weird. Anyways, they come up. Jack is part of this advertising company that does, commercials for different places, and they just landed this huge deal with Dunkin' Donuts to market their Dunkachino. Now, that's a clue at who's fucking going to be in this whole thing. Dunkachino. Okay, so Dunkin' Donuts.
Oh, you know what?
What?
I have never actually seen Jack and Jill.
Yeah.
I don't plan to.
Yeah.
But I do think I remember the trailer. It's Al Pacino, right?
Yes, it is.
I do remember Al Pacino being in the trailer.
He is he's one of the many random people that come up out of nowhere.
And he's in love with her.
Yeah, he's in love with Jill.
Okay. Yeah, I remember that from the trailer.
Yeah. Guess how they meet? At a basketball game, of course.
Of course.
Yeah, because it had to be some Lakers game Jack had to talk to Al Pacino about possibly being part of this commercial that would make or break his career. And Johnny Depp shows up out of fucking nowhere, chilling around with, Al Pacino. That's a thing. Of course, David Spade has to have his hand in it because it's Adam Sandler, along with Rob Schneider. He appeared somewhere, and it's just filled with random people, and I can't remember the other two people that were like star-studded people that came in here and had their little says and whatnots. But overall, yeah, it's all about finding your family and finding your love and being happy with one another and accepting each other for who they are. Is that what it's about,
or is it about Adam Sandler wanting to make another shitty... I hate Adam Sandler.
I can understand.
I hate his movies.
Literally, I don't know what happened. Like, I don't know. I think, honestly, at the end of... when I finally got to the end, of this movie, and Al Pacino says one line that I think that should have been not only applied to the commercial after they filmed it, because yes, they fucking do film the stupid commercial, and everybody's happy. Al Pacino doesn't fall in love with the girl, and there's fall in love with Jill. She falls in love with the gardener that was literally saying every other line of his. He would mention something terrible happened, and he would then say, I'm kidding, and it was annoying. And then he was like, I'm joking. He would point and stare at you, and then like say, it was awful. Fell in love with that. Also, okay, before I mention the line, there was one random moment where they were on the cruise ship. Whatever. Jack and Jill are there. Jack told Jill to meet up at the top of the ship to meet her special lover or whatever, and she's like, it better not be Al Pacino, because I don't want to meet him, I don't like him, whatever, and all that shit. So he dresses up as Jill. So now there's two Jills and no Jack. And there's that whole montage of him dressing up as Jill, even though he plays Jill in the movie. And so that's the huge joke, that they both look the same because they're the same person, actor. So that happens. And everybody's like, man, you look different. There's something about you. And then the other joke, was every person had to mention how Jill looked like a man. So, yeah, there's that. But, yeah, Al Pacino said this one line at the end of the movie that in regards to his commercial after he filmed it and everything, and it was just literally a minute montage of him singing and dancing, talking about the Dunkachino, calling him, don't call me Al Pacino, call me Dunkachino. Yeah. He looked over to Adam Sandler's character. After Adam Sandler's character, Jack said, what do you think about it? He said, burn it. Burn every little existence of this film, or of this commercial. I don't want to see it ever. Has anyone seen this? Because if they have, we need to talk to them. No one can know about this. That should have been applied to this movie. I give it a no star out of 5.
No stars
out
of 5.
No stars at all. Because that's exactly what happened with this movie. There are no stars left in man. I'm done with this. I'm done with this film. I'm done with life. Excuse me as I jump out this window.
Yeah, I hear it's awful. Rotten Tomatoes has given it a 3 out of 100.
Wow, that's generous.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So, well done. Literally punishment to watch that, because there were times when I had to stop and just watch an episode of Bob's Burgers just to clear my mind of this depression or something. But whatever, I watched it all. So that was fun.
So would you recommend Jack and Jill to our audience?
I recommend that if you are a fan of waterboarding and you don't want to use water anymore, you want to use a new form of torture, put Jack and Jill on repeat and tape their eyelids.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well.
Oh, God, I'm sorry. That was awful, but...
You got me, LOL.
Yes, tell me about it.
Miley Cyrus's big 2012 hit.
Oh God, was it?
I don't think so. I don't even know if that went to theaters. That might have been like a straight to DVD thing.
I feel like it.
I don't remember it. I don't
Me either.
remember seeing commercials for it or anything.
Yeah.
It was a movie about family and reconnecting with. All right. No, all right.
No, I'm just.
It's
I was
about
surprised.
it's about true love and it's about becoming a woman.
Really?
Yes.
Perfect.
All right. So here's what happens. In it.
Oh, I love it. Love to hear it.
Miley Cyrus plays a girl named Lola. That's where the lull comes from, because in the opening monologue she says, "My name is Lola, but everybody around here calls me Lol." One person in the movie calls her Lol one time. Everybody else calls her Lola.
It's so depressing. It's like giving yourself some really hardcore nickname.
Yeah.
You're like, oh man, my friends call me Slash. And you go around.
One dude called you Slash one time, and he felt like an idiot for it.
Yep.
So everybody else calls you Steven.
Yeah. And you're always like correcting people, like, no, call me Slash. Oh God, I'm sorry.
Oh my gosh. So Miley Cyrus plays a girl named Slash, and
it's canon.
it's like a high school drama film.
Yeah.
And it's like Mean Girls, except Mean Girls is funny, relevant, and actually not a bad movie.
Yeah.
Where Lol is no longer, I don't think it's really relevant.
Yeah.
And she is like, the opening monologue is about her being in love with this man, this other kid, and they'll be together forever and stuff like that. They're carving their names in trees and shit like that. And then after the monologue is over, he dumps her.
I'm sorry, that's not funny.
It was kind of funny.
Okay, great. Awesome.
It's just like, alright.
Well, that happened.
But the whole movie is about her, like, dating his best friend. And it's about the drama of, like, I used to be in love with you, but now I'm in love with your best friend, and there's this
Slash.
and her mom, who is who's played by Demi Moore.
Okay.
Who in this film is only like 14 years older than her. Like,
yeah.
It's just like trying to be overprotective, doesn't want her fooling around, doesn't want her doing stuff like that. You know, she's a mom.
She's trying to be a mom.
Yeah, that's all. And it's just the I hate you because you don't understand me. Well, I wish you were a better daughter.
Oh.
And,
so that fun type of fight that rarely happens in life kind of thing.
Yeah, and it's just about like mean girls in high school. Like, you know what? You could sit with us at our lunch table if you were pretty, but you're not.
Oh man.
And everybody looks the fucking same in this movie. You know? It's that like stereotype blonde girl. Mm-hmm. They all have the same hairdo and the same eye makeup, and they wear the same kind of clothes and stuff. So they're all, with very few exceptions, in like cheekbones and whatnot, like all the women look the same.
So it's like watching the CW when they're all calling themselves ugly, and you're like, I can't.
Yo, this was like a shitty episode of Gilmore Girls.
Okay, great.
And by the end of the movie, oh my god, there's a plot line, a subplot about Miley Cyrus's character Slash losing her virginity, and it's just like, I can't believe I'm watching this right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what? I actually don't think it was nearly as painful as yours.
I'm sure.
But it's a different kind of movie.
Yeah.
Yours was hey, look how funny we are. Are you guys laughing?
Yeah.
Are you guys laughing?
Actually, here's a quick question: did your movie have at least like an interesting soundtrack at times? Or not interesting soundtrack, but like
actually, that was one of the things I want to talk about.
Go ahead.
No, I didn't like the music because it was all like the teenage. I don't know how to. It's like music from Juno, you know. That's just that type of thing. That like, look how trendy we are.
Yeah.
In our
trendy yet indie kind of crap.
High school indie. Look. Yeah. No. And
yeah, I would have actually enjoyed that because in my movie there was absolutely no sound. So whenever they would make a joke, it's that awkward silence. Like if you take the laugh track out of a terrible sitcom, i.e., almost every sitcom. But whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, but whatever. Yeah.
Not a fan of LOL.
Yeah.
I don't think it was as painful as yours.
I'm sure.
It wasn't good for sure. It was a bad episode of Gilmore Girls. It was just about stuck-up girls being mean to each other, boys being mean to each other, and the whole God, Dad, you don't understand me. My music is my life. I will say my favorite part of the movie. My favorite part of the movie. Well, hold on. Before I say this, I will also say that every person in this movie is fucking rich. Because they live in, like, huge penthouses and stuff like that, like Wayne.
Yeah. Wayne Manor.
Yeah. Well,
everybody else Wayne Manor.
Like, think about, like, in The Dark Knight, which is another movie that I watched for Wajja Watch.
Oh, what'd you know?
In The Dark Knight, when he throws that big fundraiser party in his penthouse, like everybody in this movie lives in those kind of places.
Wow.
And like Demi Moore is a single mom with 3 kids, and she has the biggest fucking house ever. I don't remember. I want to say they showed what her profession was early on in the movie, but I'm not sure if I remember it.
Yeah, I mean, that's understandable.
But yeah, she's just, everybody's like a single parent who's just filthy rich.
Yeah.
But anyway, now on to my favorite part. The main boy, who is Miley Cyrus's love interest.
Yeah.
He's this like indie, he looks like a slightly older, slightly more handsome, Justin Bieber.
Okay.
Like, he's got that hair, he's got that just look, that style to him and stuff. He kind of has that face.
Yeah.
But he's just all about his music and stuff like that. That's why she loves him. And, he's the kind of kid that would be on a college campus lawn just playing his music all day long.
Yeah. Not going to class.
Not just wanting girls to come sit with him.
Yeah.
And, but his grades are not good. So his really rich dad is like this business, like always wearing a suit all the time.
Yeah, even while he goes to sleep.
Even when he's asleep and in the shower. They're at the dinner table, and the kids, like, so there's this Battle of the Bands thing coming up, and blah, 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 blah. And his dad's like, how about we talk about music when your grades are better? And,
I mean, responsible parent.
That's a reoccurring thing. Is that whole you need to focus less on your music and you need to start bringing your grades up. If you bring your grades up, then we can talk about doing these music things.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't understand, Dad. So my favorite part of the movie is it's almost Christmas, and they have a Christmas tree set up, and it's just the scene starts with the father and the son looking out the window. And they have, like I said, this is a rich penthouse crazy thing where, like, the whole wall is a window. Yeah. One of those type things. So it's actually a good shot. I'll give them credit. It's a really good shot of these two people. And you just see their silhouettes because of the sunlight, the sun's setting, and, you're getting that orange light outside. And just the 2 black figures standing next to the Christmas tree. And they're just looking out the window, standing side by side silently. And then they turn to each other, and the father has a report card in his hands. And I swear to God, he takes the report card, he folds it in half, and he sniffs it, like... He just sniffs it from one side of the report card all to the other, and he says, you know what that smells like? He turns around and he puts the report card in the tree and he says, smells like no music. Merry Christmas. I was like, what the fuck am I watching?
Oh my goodness.
You know what that smells like?
What does it smell
Smells like no music.
Oh my goodness.
I'm curious if Miley Cyrus actually helped write this movie, because it seems like and they do this thing where whenever characters are talking to each other over texting or chat or something like that, they'll, like, Miley Cyrus will be sitting on her bed alone and she'll be typing, and as the audience, we see this box above her head that shows what she's typing.
Okay.
And like whenever characters text each other, there's no dialogue. They're not saying anything.
Yeah.
And you can't see the phone, but you see a little box pop up beside their head or something that shows what they're typing.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it was like cringeworthy stuff.
Oh,
it's just like right in the beginning of the movie when the two characters are starting to kind of like each other.
Oh no.
And they're sending each other those like messages. I swear to God, this is what happens.
Okay.
Miley Cyrus's character / set.
I'm glad this is a fake.
She's talking to this guy, and she says, I can't remember his name, but I'm going to assume it's Daniel or something.
Okay.
We'll use Daniel as, like, our proxy name.
Yeah.
She says, hey, Daniel. Yes. Winky face. And she closes the computer and lays down with a smile on her face. Like, oh my god, is this what's happening? Oh my god.
I tell you, that's Oscar worthy.
That, I've never cried so hard in my life. Just tears of beauty.
Yep.
It's so beautiful.
Yep.
One last problem I have with the movie.
Yeah.
Amongst bad characters, bad writing, bad plot, etc.
Yeah.
Is, every now and... They didn't do it as much as I thought they were going to do. It happens more in the beginning than later. But every now and then they did this thing where Miley Cyrus's character is looking at somebody, she's talking to people, she's having a conversation like with her mom or something like that. The camera will look at her mom, and just her mom, and you'll hear Miley Cyrus talking.
Yeah.
And she says something like, oh my god, you're a fucking bitch, or something like that.
Yeah.
And her mom has absolutely no response, like no reaction. And then the camera goes back to Miley Cyrus's character, and she says something else, and it's like, oh, wait, was she thinking that in her head? Like,
that's weird.
They'll do the thing of, like, a character will think something, like, oh my god, I just want to punch you in the face. And then they'll say something else.
Yeah.
Which works when the camera's looking at that person, so you know they're not talking.
Yeah.
But there were like 3 or 4 times in the first half of the movie where Miley Cyrus's character is talking to somebody. The camera is focused on that character, and you can't see Miley Cyrus. And Miley Cyrus says something like, I just want to punch you in your ovaries, or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's just like, all right, did she really say that, or is that in her head? Because they both sound like it's impossible to tell when the camera's not looking at Miley Cyrus.
Yeah.
And sometimes they don't establish whether or not that was actually said. So they did eventually stop doing that. But I was getting, like, fucking confused. I was like, how could you say that to your mom and not get in trouble?
Yeah.
Oh, it's because it was a trick?
Yay.
Camera fooled me?
Magic. That actually reminds me, because I didn't even touch on this when I was talking about Jack and Jill. The almost annoying amount of racism throughout that entire movie. It was absolutely amazing. Like, like Al Pacino had like a cook, and he would speak a different language, so he would just like make up words and just yell it back at him, and he'd be like, I don't know what you're saying. He was like, no, just go make food. He was like, oh, okay. And then go in the kitchen, and then the obvious, like, Hispanic family reunion type thing, where, I mean, you could just guess what they were doing. It was like plate after plate of chili, like chili peppers, eating that and whatever, and then they all had to go play soccer. Because, you know, that's what Hispanic families do. They all play soccer with Grandma on the sideline, and then Jill's character kept kicking the ball and hitting Grandma or hitting some kind of weird way, and she would fall over and get knocked out or whatever. So everybody in the family runs over with chili peppers and start feeding it to her. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, but anyways,
so,
sorry. Go ahead, continue.
Final score for LOL.
Yeah.
I give it a 3 out of 10.
Wow.
So it's bad.
Yeah.
I recommend this only to stuck-up high school girls.
Yeah.
Period.
That's
it. I mean...
Period, done, cut.
I don't think there's a good message in this movie either.
Yeah.
There's not even like something to take away. It
just left you feeling empty in a way.
Because like there's no consequences for the things that she does in the movie.
Yeah.
She does drugs. She drinks. She goes to Paris and lies and does all these weird. She lies to people in order to get with the boy and sleep with him.
Yeah.
And lie to her mom about it and stuff like that. And there's no consequences for it. Her mother finds out, but she's just like, "It's okay, I love you," and the movie's over. Because the mom just says, "It's okay, I was like that when I was your age." That's... I'm not entirely sure that's the appropriate message, since this movie is going to be targeted towards 13 to 18-year-old girls.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm not going to sit here and say, like, it's not okay to go, you know,
yeah.
like...
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I know what you're saying.
I'm not going to get preachy or anything.
Yeah.
But,
no, I know what you're saying.
Like, if you're an 18-year-old girl, like, yeah, you could do what you want, like, within reason. As long as you're following the rules under the house that you are in.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not saying that women should not, you know...
No, I know what you're saying.
Sort of thing.
Yeah.
Do these things. But she's like a 16-year-old girl. And it's going to be 13-year-old Hannah Montana fans watching this movie.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if this is appropriate for them. Because the whole movie is about who's sleeping with who. You're not cool if you're not getting laid. And there's no resolution of like, no, you can be cool even if you're not doing these things like you would expect. No, she goes to Paris and she does it so she can be like everybody else. And that's where the movie ends. Like...
Wow.
It's crazy. Like, wow. I don't know. I give it a 3 out of 10. I don't think it was as bad as yours. But then again, I haven't seen yours. And I don't plan to either.
Well, yeah, I know. But I wouldn't.
So, there you have it, folks. We punished each other with bad movies.
We talked about it. 28 minutes.
Alright, so let's move along to things that hopefully were not as bad.
No.
Jeffrey, what's something else that you watched?
Thor 2.
Thor 2. That's on my list as well, because I also watched it about a week ago.
Cool then.
Not for the first time.
Yeah.
For you, it was for the first time.
For me, it was the first time, and while I did have, like, small problems with it, I enjoyed it more than the first Thor. And of course, as you know, for me, I don't know anything about the comics of Thor, and, you know,
and I know everything.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, when you watch it...
Little side tangent. Yeah. This will only take a second.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yesterday, Jeffrey and I, we had, on our college campus, we had a little miniature Comic-Con kind of thing. We called it the WeCon.
Yeah. And,
it's just this big grand room with a bunch of booths set up, and, you know, comic books and video games and stuff like that, and you were encouraged to shove a costume. You know, it was like a very, very tiny Comic-Con.
Yeah, and it was nice. It was a nice, fun time for, you know, people.
There was a booth set up of this guy selling trades, and a trade is a collection of comic books in paperback form.
Oh.
Usually in paperback form. Sometimes you'll get a hardback. But it'll be like an entire story arc, like issues 1 through 8 of this comic book all put together with all the advertisements taken out and stuff like that.
Oh, that's cool.
And usually they're cheaper to buy the whole collection as a trade versus buying each individual comic, because comics for like Marvel, usually they're $4 a piece, and a trade will have all 8 issues of that storyline put together for like $20.
That's really cool.
Or $24 or something.
That's cool.
So you save a little bit of money.
Yeah.
And there was a guy selling a whole bunch of trades, and I was checking out all his stuff, and he had a whole section for Thor, and I'm all about Thor.
Yeah.
That's like, with a couple of exceptions, that's like all I really buy.
Yeah.
Nowadays, and I pick it up, and every single time I picked up a comic, he would tell me what the story's about and like who the characters are and stuff like that, and I'd be like, dude.
Yeah.
I'm wearing a Thor shirt. I have a Thor button on my hat because I'm trying to get into the spirit of the WeCon. Like, I know what I'm getting into. He'd be like, "Oh, you're picking up the Fear Itself story. That's about the serpent that lives under the tree. You know, he comes and starts taking over the mines. Blah 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 blah." And I'm like, "Dude, I know." It's okay.
Yeah.
You can talk to any of the other couple people that are also looking at your comic books. They might not know. Ask them. But I know what I'm looking at. I'm just looking to see which ones you have that I still need.
Yeah.
So, and I'd put it down, and I'd pick up another comic, and he'd be like, "Oh, man, that's one of my favorites, because that's when Wolverine does this, this, this." And I'm just like, "All right, dude, stop." Anyway, that was just a little side tangent.
Yeah.
Talk about Thor. But what'd you think about Thor?
And actually, I had mentioned this to other people, and they talked about how they enjoyed the first Thor movie because it felt like more was going on than the second one. And I agree and also disagree at times, because I'll flat out and say it. I actually just did not like the Thor character in the first movie. Mm-hmm. Like that movie actually, and I understood, his trials to become a better person, let's say, or just become into the role of Thor. Whatever, you know what I'm trying to say in a way. Like, it was to sort of introduce everyone to the character. I actually just didn't like his character in it. And it made me just not enjoy it. I felt like all the bad things.
Which I think is understandable.
Yeah.
It's not something that I would get defensive over.
Of course, yeah.
Because Thor is a prick.
Yeah.
In the first one, he's this, like, ungrateful asshole.
Yeah.
And he's just like that in the comics at first.
Exactly.
But, the story of Thor is all about his transformation into the most noble.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say, and I couldn't say it.
Yeah,
but I just felt like the first movie didn't actually portray that transformation enough. I felt it was just so abrupt.
It was a little rushed.
Yeah.
I always say this. I think the first Thor movie needed some kind of montage of him just, like, helping people around that little town, bucking bales of hay and shit.
Exactly. I mean, and that would have made me at least make his transformation more believable to me. So I didn't like him that much in the first movie. Then the Avengers comes along, and I can enjoy it. I can enjoy his character more. I can see, what he's trying to do, where his transformation coming along even more, and so on and so forth. And it wasn't, it was more acceptable to me. And then Thor 2 comes along, and I finally get to watch it. And I enjoy Thor as a character. I like Thor, and I now do not dislike Thor anymore because of that movie.
Good. That makes me feel really good. There's something that just like.
And his heart grew 3 times.
I feel so warm and fuzzy when other people are like, "Yeah, Thor."
Yeah, and that's actually how I feel now. Like I'm okay.
He's the best of all the Avengers. That's a fact.
That's a fact.
That is not an opinion. That's
here
objective.
It is. But yeah, after watching that movie, I enjoy the character of Thor more, and I'm actually more interested to learn more about him.
So, what did you think about the movie?
The movie itself, as a whole, I thought it was I thought it was interesting, but I couldn't actually place exactly what I was supposed to focus on the most, if that makes sense. And I understood like concepts of that they were trying to portray in the movie about the ether and everything, and how that's one of the Infinity Stones now. I mean, that can't be a spoiler anymore, considering this movie's been out forever and all that. But just in case, there's that spoiler.
I don't think the ether being an Infinity Stone is a spoiler.
Okay, great, awesome.
And you know what? This was just a fucking Wajja Watch episode. Let's spoil the shit out of it.
Done.
If you haven't seen Thor 2 and you're afraid of spoilers, Jeffrey, do you know how to put one of those annotations on the YouTube video that they can click and just jump ahead?
No, but
we'll try to figure it out. Otherwise, just skip ahead like 15 minutes and hope for the best.
Yeah. At most 15. Probably won't take that long.
No.
Yeah.
The ether is an Infinity Stone.
Cool.
And
and of course, seeing and I will mess up his name, Benicio del Toro.
Benicio del Toro.
Benicio del Toro's character, the Collector.
Yeah. At the
end credits, that's an interesting character that I'd like to know more about. I actually think he's pretty hilarious.
Yeah, he's pretty cool.
Just his mannerisms.
Yeah, he's gonna be in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
So
isn't he sort of like a villain or something like that? Not a villain, but like
we don't know right now.
Yeah.
In the comics, he's not a villain, but he's willing to do some really dickish things to get things done. And it is unknown right now if they're going to keep that sort of thing, or if he's just one of Thanos' goons. I think it's very possible that like what it's going to be is like he is working for Thanos to get those stones, and Thanos is like, "Oh, you're my puppet."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Nah, I'm too smart for that shit. I'm pretending to be your goon." Whatever. But really, you're my puppet.
Yeah.
But no, in the end, he's Thanos' puppet.
Yeah.
I'm
trying to reverse psychology, but I'm reverse psychology you.
I'm going to double cross you because I'm so smart. But the whole time, he doesn't realize that he's actually being triple crossed. I think that's what will happen.
Cross-sections. But overall, the characters, I will say the characters were more enjoyable this time around. Darcy and all of them in particular I found them a little bit more enjoyable.
One of the things that people dislike about Thor 2, a lot of people don't like the Earth characters, Darcy and them, because they're like the humor's too forced or something like that. And to a degree, I get that.
I do as well.
Because Darcy was coming at me like right out the gate, bam, bam, bam. Like, look at all these jokes I can make in 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And not all of them hit the mark.
Yeah.
But there's something, I still forgive her character. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's something like...
Her character is... Actually, I have to agree with you. Her character is almost more forgiving than others. And I want to... And
like, on paper, I feel like if I hadn't seen the movie, and I've never seen Darcy before, and I read it on paper, I'd be like, no, this character's not going to work.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. I see myself forgiving it.
Yeah.
I'm not in love with her character.
Oh, no.
If she never showed up again, it's not like I'd be upset.
Right.
But, I'm not butthurt about it.
Yeah.
Some people are like, because she got so much screen time, we didn't get enough screen time for Malekith. A reasonable... Yeah,
very reasonable.
A reasonable complaint, but I don't...
My complaint was actually Malekith wasn't that exciting.
No, he wasn't.
Okay, great. I'm glad,
Yeah, you're not the only one. And from who for the people that I have spoken to...
Yeah.
I don't think anybody disliked Malekith.
No, I didn't.
Which is good.
Yeah.
But I think everybody's just sort of in the same boat of just, I wish he got to do more.
Yeah.
Because when you think about it, he's the guy that's pushing the plot.
Yeah.
He's pushing other characters to do stuff, but he's not really doing a whole lot himself.
Yeah.
The only thing, like, he's in that opening, the opening, which I really like the first scene in the movie, which is just Odin telling the story about the Dark Elves.
Yes.
Kind of reminded me of the Fellowship of the Ring when Galadriel is telling the story about how the ring was made and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Kind of had that feel to it. And then, he shows up to, like, try and kill Odin and get the ether. And next time you see him is when he gets the ether.
Yeah.
On that, like, elf planet thing.
Yeah.
What was it called? Oh my god.
Yeah.
No way.
It's like, it started with a K, I felt like.
No,
or
Niflheim or...
Nah.
Niflheim, I think, is the fiery...
yeah.
Look, they're all fucking weird.
Names, man.
Yeah.
I can't handle it.
I do like that the Marvel movies have kept all the names, though.
I didn't know that was all the names.
Because all the realms have these, like, weird...
fucking names.
Just bizarre names that they kept, they didn't change.
That's awesome.
That's cool. Malekith, he was kind of cool. Yeah, I thought he had a cool look. I thought the actor portraying him was cool. I like him.
Yeah, I can't remember the actor, actually.
Did you watch Heroes?
Yes, partially. Not all the way.
Do you remember much about it? He was the Invisible Man in season 1 who trained Peter.
Okay, I got him. I got his mind. I got his mind. I got his face in my mind. I think I know.
And don't quote me on this because I'm not an authority on Doctor Who, but I think he might have been one of the Doctors in the past.
Huh.
I don't know for sure.
Then I don't know. Then who knows?
He's done a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, he has.
But
that's cool.
He unfortunately, his motivation for doing stuff was while it wasn't terrible, it's just simple. Simple works sometimes.
Yeah.
And for this, it works. It's just like he wants to throw the universe into darkness and turn all the planets into like elf planets.
Yeah.
And he just wants to be like, well, fuck you, Odin. Look how cool I am. All right.
Yeah.
There's nothing really deep about that, but it works.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, he just doesn't do very much. He only had, let's see, he had 2 fights in the movie. Mm-hmm. The first fight was with Thor's mom.
Yeah.
And he lost that fight, which I think is actually kind of badass.
I thought that was a great scene.
That was pretty awesome. That she beat him
in
that sword fight, and that she just got sucker punched, basically.
Yeah. But everything else, I was.
And then he fought Thor at the end after he got. Considering the ether is the power gem, it was very underwhelming.
It was,
wasn't it?
Yes.
Because he finally got it at the end, and the power was like flowing through him.
Yeah.
And he didn't do anything. Mm-hmm. He kind of created some kind of sandstorm around him.
Yeah.
And Thor was still able to get through and kill him.
Yeah.
Maybe that's to show how badass Thor is, but I think it
underwhelms the power.
It kind of made the ether seem a little shitty.
Yeah.
Like, was even the big deal about it?
I think, and actually, this is not more so a problem with Thor, but with actually a good portion of all the other Marvel movies, for me. While the Avengers, and I'm sure they address this in actually Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., the TV show, but while the Avengers set up something that I actually feel that needs to be addressed in movies more so, like the whole aftermath of all this destruction, I didn't feel like Thor, more so than and this is actually a plus that I have for Iron Man 3, that it actually felt like this was the aftermath of the Avengers.
Yeah.
I don't feel that Thor 2 had that. This is the aftermath of the Avengers, other than, like...
Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
I will say that they do touch on it a little bit in Thor 2. There might be, like, a couple throwaway lines of like, where they're just like, oh my god, it's like New York, or something like that.
People say that.
There were people who ran up to the windows and they were just like, it's Thor or something like that.
It's the camp guy. He's beating him with his hammer.
Yeah, I don't remember what the exact line was.
Natalie Portman's character runs up to him. She's like, did you not? You left me after New York and things like that. But I felt like when she was running up to him after he first appears in the shipyard. He
had the whole "I was saving the world" thing.
Yeah.
As far as excuses go, it's not terrible.
It's not. But the police officers, they acted like they didn't know. They've never seen them before.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's weird.
I will get. I don't know. I'll cut him some slack that it's still. This is still only the first movie,
of course,
after Avengers. That maybe there are a couple people who don't know him on sight.
He
might just be some crazy guy wearing a weird costume.
Yeah.
I think from here on,
everybody
in the world will know who they are. On sight. But yes, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. does address that. Almost the whole show, at least the first half of the show, is pretty much just dealing with stuff that happened after the New York battle thing.
And I'm sure in Paris as well, after Thor, because I know...
Yeah, there's an episode of S.H.I.E.L.D. that ties in directly to
Thor.
Thor.
But I mean that's like my smallest gripe.
Maybe another reason that there's not a whole lot of talk about the New York battle and Thor versus Iron Man. I think Iron Man takes place just a couple months after not Age of Ultron.
Oh yeah,
the first Avengers.
Thor 2 is 2 years, isn't it?
Thor 2 is almost a year after Iron Man. Maybe.
I don't know.
Actually, I bet by the time Age of Ultron's coming out, Marvel will release an official timeline or something for it. Yeah. But I know Captain America takes place 2 years after Avengers.
Okay.
That one is set in stone. But, Iron Man is almost right after Avengers.
Yeah.
Thor is somewhere in between. So if it's like a year or a year and a half later, maybe that's why there's a little less talk about.
Yeah. That actually makes more sense, and now I can retract that problem. But overall, I'd actually give Thor 2, or Thor: The Dark World, 4 out of 5, actually, in my book.
It's a good movie.
Yeah.
What did you think about Loki in the movie? What did you think about all the stuff he was doing? And
I'm actually very unsure about him still, because I still feel like his character... I actually kind of felt like Loki's character in this movie was sort of thrown in to appease fans more so than create story.
Exactly. They did do reshoots after they finished the movie. They went back a month or a month and a half later and just shot some additional scenes.
Yeah.
And they said that they cut scenes out of the movie to put more in. They never officially said which scenes they reshot and added and which scenes were taken out. But anybody that really sits and thinks about it, they were just adding more Loki.
Yeah.
The scene, and I think I've said this in a past episode of Unwind.
We've talked about it when you watched it and such.
The scene right in the beginning, with Loki in the throne room, and Odin's talking about how he's going to spend the rest of his days in the dungeons and stuff like that, is a little out of place. It's not a bad scene, but it's out of place, and I think that's just it's just another scene with Loki added. And there's I bet the scene with him and his mom in the dungeon where he's talking about how you're not my real parents, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
That I think that had to have been an additional scene. Stuff I don't know. I think that they were just... I would not be surprised if the ending... And here we go, full spoiler. Full spoilers ahead. Spoilers. The ending with Thor walks out of the throne room.
Yeah.
And Odin sits down in his seat and transforms back into Loki. And, big plot twist. Loki has done something to or with Odin, and Loki is now disguised as Odin, ruling Asgard.
And
he just strikes that pose on the throne as the credits roll.
That was, that was the most you could see it from so far away happening.
Yeah,
Because as soon as he died, and the one person goes and sees, I knew from right then and there he wasn't dead, and he was going to come back and do something else.
But if you watch carefully, I mean, you don't even have to watch carefully. If you just watch the movie, when the Asgardian guard is on that planet, he stands up, and there's the green mist around him, and he acts like he just like wakes up or something. Like he's got that face of just like all right, I am transformed. Yes. And he starts walking back to the ship, or whatever. And it's obvious that Loki has just turned into him. Yeah. I bet if they cut that out, and they just had the scene of the guards, not even one guard, they should have added a whole bunch of guards come up to Odin and be like, we have checked the planet, whatever, all we found was Loki's body, blah, blah, blah. And then, if at the very end, Odin sits down, transforms into Loki, I bet everybody would have been like, holy shit, he pulled a fast one. Yeah. But the way they filmed that one scene of him, of the one guard with the green mist around him that everybody knows is Loki. Yeah. It's just kind of ruined it. It really did. It ruined it for me, honestly. But I'm curious if that whole ending with Loki on the throne was one of the reshoots. Yeah. Or if it was just Odin. It was just Odin sending Thor back to Earth, and it ends. You know how the after credits scene is Thor showing up on Earth again? Yeah. And he embraces Jane, and that's where the movie, and then that's it. Yeah. It's kind of a weird after credits scene because it doesn't link to anything else. It's just why is that after the credits? Yeah. I bet that was the last shot of the movie. Odin sends him back to Earth, and then he shows up and embraces Jane. End of the movie. But they wanted to throw in that twist, so the reshoot was Loki. Yeah. I bet that's what the deal is. And I don't want him to come back as a reoccurring villain. I don't want that to be a thing. But it could possibly well be. He's not going to be in Age of Ultron. He's not? No. Okay, great. Unless they pull some kind of secret, cameo or something. Yeah. But he actually serves no purpose to be in the movie. Yeah. Dark World is a little bit of a stretch to give him a part in the movie, but it's possible. But he has no purpose to be in Ultron. He's definitely going to be in Thor 3. Yeah. There's no way that they could just go unexplained what he did to Odin. Yeah. And stuff like that. And they should give him a proper send off and just have him die in that movie. For without the whole trickster bullshit. Now, how would you feel in Thor 3, big bad guy, whatever, end of the world stuff? Would you rather Loki be 100% villain and be killed by Thor or another villain or something like that and get wiped out like a villain? Or would you rather the cheesy cliche, at the last minute proves that he is not as bad as everyone thinks and he sacrifices himself to save Thor? They would have to make that last one really actually mean something. Really mean something. And that's hard for anyone to do. I would buy that. Yeah. If Odin is still alive. Yes. We don't know where Odin is right now. Yeah. Odin could be locked up somewhere. Yeah. But if we find out that he's killed Odin and taken his place, there's no way I'll buy he'll sacrifice himself. He'll sacrifice himself, and everybody be like, Loki had such a kind heart, and Loki was actually good the whole time. Aww. And it would piss me off. No, he fucking killed Odin. Exactly. And that's what people will forget because they love Tom Hiddleston. They don't love Loki. He killed so many people in Avengers. Yes. All those people he killed. And everybody's like, oh, he still just has such a kind heart. No, he doesn't. Stop it. Get off your fucking throne. Stop it. That pisses me off. It's one of the many things that pisses me off. If Odin is still alive and they do it right, maybe I can buy it. Yeah. But we'll see what happens. Yeah. Thor 3, I think it's been all but confirmed that it's Ragnarok. Okay. Which is the end game for Thor. That's the last final boss, is Surtur and all the stuff that happens with Ragnarok. So, well, yeah. Well, I give Thor 2 an 8 out of 10. Cool. It's a good movie.
And you know what I just thought about now? Seems like all of these Marvel movies, like Iron Man, Captain America, and Thor, come in threes. In the sense
well,
of...
I mean, yes. And also, should we really be surprised by that? Because I think every movie ever now has to come in threes.
Well, like, not in the sense of, like, yeah, they make 3 movies, but, like, the way that they're doing the trilogy, in a sense, like, that third movie's going to always be the end game where we find out if the character's going to live or die kind of thing. So it kind of...
3 Iron Men, 3 Captain Americas, 3 Thors. There'll be 3 Avengers.
Yeah. It makes you wonder what's going to have to...
You know, I bet when Ant-Man and all those other movies, Guardians, kicks off, I'm sure they'll each get 3 movies apiece.
And I'm okay with that.
Assuming they do well.
Yeah. I'm okay with that. I always... That makes me think about, like, the end game of it, like you just mentioned for Ragnarok. The end game of Thor, or the end game of Captain America, the end game of Ant-Man.
I guess it is a little... I don't know. Maybe not...
I look into things
maybe not,
too
like,
much.
Disappointing. I don't know what word I should use. Maybe not disappointing, but... if they announce Thor 3, or Captain America 3, there's a 99% chance that the characters will survive, and only because Avengers 3 is happening right after that.
Right.
And it's like, well, if they die, then there's not going to be an Avengers 3.
Right.
You know?
Unless that's when others step up in Avengers 3 and we have to go through, like, introduction of those characters.
Like,
but, like,
I mean, I think once Avengers 3 comes around the corner, years from now...
Yeah. Where will it be?
then who knows what will happen. Like, anybody is fair game.
Yeah.
Captain America, Thor, anybody could get killed off there.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to have the other movies from then on.
Yeah.
Possibly.
So,
who knows? They could all get killed off. But I don't think anybody's going to die in Avengers 2. I don't think anybody's going to die in Captain America 3 or Thor 3 because then they can't be in Avengers 3, and we already know that's happening. So, who knows? I could be wrong.
Who knows?
One of the crazy plot twists of Captain America 2 could be that Captain America dies in it.
Yeah.
And then Bucky... Oops. I promised I wouldn't talk about this.
I promised.
Forget to say anything.
What are we talking about? Blah, 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 blah.
Let's move on.
Oh, yeah, because we actually just spent a long time on that.
Yeah. Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man. You saw Amazing Spider-Man. Tell me what you thought. Even though I told you you didn't have to watch it, you went and did.
I did anyways, because I said, you know what, I'm going to do it. I'm going to put myself through this. I'll give it, I'm going to tell you what I would score it. Out of 10 this time, because it would make more sense.
Out of 10?
Out of 10.
Change it up.
7.
Okay.
That's pretty
good.
Yeah. I'd give it that, mainly because I enjoyed the effects, the practical and visual effects. I thought they were interesting enough for myself. They were interesting enough for me. I know. But I also, the entire time when I was watching it, I wanted to see a mixture of, like, that old Spider-Man with this Spider-Man. And I was thinking, like, maybe there's a way that it would be better in the second one. Because it felt to me like it was trying to be better, and it just wasn't reaching that point. And I don't know. It's not something I would ever own. I will not own this movie. It doesn't give me hope for the second one. But I don't know. It sits in my purgatory.
I would give it a 5 out of 10 personally.
Yeah.
Like
that's understandable.
It's nothing.
That's how it feels to me too.
Were you disappointed with the lizard?
Yes.
Because not only did he look stupid as fuck, but
somebody said it best yesterday. You mean to tell me that we could have Jurassic Park come out way back when it did and have every dinosaur looking beautiful, and we can't do that with the lizard in Amazing Spider-Man? I was like, that makes sense.
I thought he looked dumb.
I did
not
too.
only that, but more importantly, he had terrible motivation for what he was doing.
Yeah.
Just, I'm going to turn the whole city into lizards. I don't know why.
I just want to.
I'm just gonna.
Like, that was it. I don't know. I thought Peter Parker's web shooting stuff. I won't call them montages, but like little things that was cool. I enjoyed that little part. I enjoyed the making of his costume.
I am surprised at how many people were butthurt in the original trilogy about Peter Parker being able to shoot webs from his wrists like they were natural it was in him. I don't know why everybody got so butthurt about that because I don't know. They never truly portray Peter in these movies as being a genius.
No, they don't.
They don't make him look dumb by any means.
No.
But, we never see any real evidence that he is as smart as he is in the comics. In the comics, he's smart enough to build his own web shooter. He does that in The Amazing Spider-Man. But other than that little tiny thing of him, sitting there fixing a little web shooter together, we get no evidence that he is smart enough to do this.
Yeah. And that's another problem I had with the movie. I didn't believe his character at all. I couldn't believe Peter Parker.
Also, I'm curious how he could afford to purchase all that, steel web stuff from Oscorp's prototype. First of all, how do you order that?
Yeah.
What are the logistics of ordering packages of that and,
Yeah. And, I actually felt more emotion from his uncle and aunt from this movie more so than the first movie.
I like the aunt more in this movie.
I did.
She is very not like Aunt May.
No,
but I like her better. So whatever.
I don't know. A lot of times when she actually felt emotion, I could kind of feel her emotion.
I like Martin Sheen in the first one, first series. Though.
I did too. But yeah.
Also, you know what? How the fuck would they not know Peter Parker is Spider-Man? Anybody in the world, really.
Yeah.
Actually, I just realized that what I'm going to say is actually going to be kind of dumb. I was going to say, anybody at Oscorp could be we have several packages of our prototype steel wire thing mailing to some kid in, where does he live? Brooklyn?
The Bronx.
I don't know. I don't know.
Sorry.
I don't know specifically.
Jack and Jill's taking over me.
I don't know specifically where Peter lives. Somewhere in New York.
Somewhere in New York.
Just, isn't it a little, that packages are being mailed not to some company, not to some government-funded thing, whatever. They're being mailed to some dude, some random kid in New York. How would they not, and then, because all those webs he shoots on the buildings and stuff, they get left behind. They just kind of dangle there. Yeah. Surely somebody has taken them down and examined them and be like, oh, hey, this is the Oscorp wire stuff.
Yeah.
Huh. What a coincidence that some kid is ordering package upon package upon package. Because think of how much wire he has to buy in order to swing around the city all the time like that. That it's just going to some kid in New York. Put 1 + 1 = Spider-Man. But, see, I was going to say, how could Oscorp not know that? But Oscorp probably does know that.
Yeah.
That seems to be what Spider-Man 2's about. Oscorp is trying to recruit Peter. They know Peter is Spider-Man and stuff, so they probably got tabs on him.
Honestly, it's there's other things that are also just, in and out of, I don't know if I can believe this, I don't know if I should believe this kind of thing. But, at the end of the day, I watched it, I finished it. I'm not going to go back to Spider-Man 1. Don't know if I'm going to go back to Spider-Man 2. Kind of thing. I just don't know if I'd watch the second one now. I mean, the newest trailer had me, interested. Not full on, I'm going to go spend money on it. But, I'm in and out still. I don't know if I really want to actually go see this movie yet.
Yep. Alright, well.
Yeah.
We'll see when the time comes. We'll see when the time comes. 7 out of 10 is not a bad score for a movie.
It's not, and I can understand, and it's mainly because I can understand why people like it. I can understand what it's trying to do. But it wasn't for me. And so I don't want to base the score off of my preference, more so to just base the score off of the movie itself.
Yeah. Alright, well, to move this thing along.
Yeah, because, we...
I watched Right at Your Door, which was one of your previous Netflix recommendations.
Gosh, I haven't watched that since it actually came out, so I'd actually like to hear what you think about it.
It was okay.
Yeah, cool.
It was not bad. It was about, like, a little rundown. A dirty bomb goes off in the streets of Los Angeles.
Yeah, it was Los Angeles.
And in and out around Los Angeles, and it's an airborne contagion or something like that. If you get it, if you breathe it, you're caught and you'll die within a few days. Yeah. So the radio encourages everybody to lock their doors, seal up all their windows and all that stuff so that nothing can get in. Yeah. And the man is at home, his wife is out at work, and he waits for her to come home as long as he possibly can, but then he can't wait any longer, so he seals up his house. Yeah. And his wife shows up. Yeah. And he will not let her in because she's infected. Yeah. And it's kind of like a little drama. Yeah, it's like maybe a tad bit of thriller. Yeah. But it's mostly drama. It is. And it wasn't terrible by any means, but I don't think it was really doing anything really interesting. Like, it wasn't. No. The premise alone was enough to keep me watching, but there wasn't anything happening that was like making me be like, oh, I want to see where this is going. Yeah. Ah, okay.
That's actually what I felt like was another big problem for me when I was watching it as well. Like, I know exactly what you mean. Because, I mean, even then, I don't really want to talk about the ending, but the ending just didn't really...
Yeah, I saw that... I did not see the twist coming. Yeah. I didn't see it coming. But the twist itself was just kind of like a shrug, like, alright.
Yep, so that happened kind of thing. Yeah. And I mean, and I like the movie, and I do like to recommend people that movie, because there are some, like... I don't know. When I first watched it, I actually kind of enjoyed it, and then I watched it again, like, oh gosh, how long was that? It's been a while since I watched it again, but it didn't have that same impact, so it's sort of like a one-and-done type movie.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not something I ever plan on seeing again. Yeah. Not bad, but it's got to be your type of movie.
It does.
And that is my type of movie, but I think the premise alone is enough to get me to watch it, but there wasn't anything happening. Nothing really unique, nothing plot-wise that was really keeping me interested.
Yeah. How long ago did that come out? That was like a 2004 movie or something like that?
I don't know.
I can't remember. It's early 2000, maybe, like, I know it wasn't anything past 2010 or anything like that, but, yeah.
Another Netflix thing that I watched before I lost my Netflix was Mimic.
Wow.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about?
Wow. I never thought about that.
That Del Toro movie.
Yeah.
That was one of his first movies?
Feel like it.
It's old. It was like early 90s, I think.
It is early 90s.
Or something.
That was like, a lot of people were like praising it on its visuals, and it's, I know, right?
So, Mimic is this, like, your classic cheesy monster movie of some experimental bugs, like, bred in a lab, get released into the wild out in Africa. Somehow, a couple of them make it over to New York.
Sorry, that's funny.
And they start to breed and evolve until the cockroaches are, like, the size of, like, horses, and are just eating people in the streets and in the sewers. Yeah. And I'd say, like, 75% of this movie takes place in the sewer. It's not good. It's so cheesy. It's like one of those things that you could maybe watch with your friends, have some drinks, and just kind of heckle it. Yeah. And maybe have a good time. But at the same time, I think it's so slow of a movie. Yes. I think it's so slow that even that might not work, because your friends might just end up being bored and falling asleep because there's not a lot happening in the movie. And that would be okay if it was a little bit more of a thinking movie. Yeah. But it's not.
No, it's not.
It's your cheesy slasher monster movie. Yeah. That unfortunately doesn't have a whole lot of monster slashing going on.
No, it doesn't.
And it's kind of dumb.
It is. It's just one of those movies that you think about it at first and you're like, wow, that was such a cool movie. then you go back and actually watch it.
I didn't think that when I was done.
Yeah, no. It was when I was younger and that movie came out, and I was really getting into horror and everything, and I watched it. I was like, oh wow, that's such a cool movie. Then again, I don't remember a lot of it because I was younger, and then watching it now, it's just like,
the reason I watched it was because it had the Del Toro name, and it was like, oh, the practical effects are so good, the monster prosthetics and stuff, and I'm a sucker for like animatronic or puppeteering, type things.
Yeah.
And there wasn't actually a whole lot of it.
No.
And there was just a lot of bad 90s CGI.
Of morphing.
Yeah. Like the Fly walking around in the subway.
Yeah.
Where, it was just like bad CGI because it was the early 90s, so it's like understandable why it was so bad. But that is not what I was promised.
Yeah.
It was kind of dumb.
Yeah.
I stopped paying attention after a while, to be honest.
I did the same when I tried.
Although kudos to Del Toro for having the balls to kill off the little children in that movie.
Right.
I didn't see that coming, but both of those little kids they just get ripped to pieces. That happens.
Yeah.
What else is on your list? I guess if I was to give it a score, 4 out of 10.
Yeah.
Better than LOL.
Better than LOL.
It's better than LOL. Alright, continue.
I don't really want to spend a lot of time on this, so I'm just going to say it really quickly.
Go for it.
I watched the Bronies documentary on Netflix.
Alright.
Yeah.
You mentioned this earlier. Go for it.
It's meant to spin a good light on Bronies. Not tell the whole thing about, what everything that there is when it comes to being a Brony. Not saying that everybody who is a Brony does one thing and all that stuff, but you know what I'm trying to say here. Like, it doesn't talk about the entire culture. It only talks about part of the culture that makes it seem good. Kind of thing. The reason why it was funded by a lot of the people who make the show. So there's that. They don't really want to say anything bad about the culture when it's coming from their soul.
See, I wouldn't even pay attention to it. It's
I
too
didn't
biased.
the thing was, I didn't know it until after, when I was looking at the credits. I'm like, wow. Because, throughout, they also have, like, random musical stops with hand-drawn ponies discussing what's going to happen next. And then they mention, like, the clopping and other things like that. And they're like, we don't talk about that. I'm like, well, why not? Because that's also part of your culture. You're going to get into all of this. Didn't do it. At all. The entire film. So I was like, if you don't know what clopping is...
No, I have no idea.
Clopping is basically the porn version. And not only just looking at, sexualizing the ponies, but also sexualizing real-life ponies and real-life horses. Yeah.
I've said this before, but if I were to go full-on Hitler on some group of
yeah.
You get where I'm going with that.
I do, and that's why I laughed. Because that's the thing. That's the thing that happens.
I find it interesting that there's a documentary about bronies that doesn't cover the guy that made thousands of dollars at a brony con by selling plushies, little pillows of ponies that have little sewn-in vaginas.
Yep. But they did focus on a couple that sold their own merchandise that involved plushies, but they didn't show the ones that had vaginas in it. Yep.
Fun fact, there was a dude who made thousands of dollars at a brony con because in his spare time, he makes little pillow-shaped ponies from the My Little Pony cartoon.
Yep.
But they have little sewn-in buttholes and vaginas on the back for you to just have some fun with because there are so many fucking people that are cool with that.
It's sad. It's scary how cool they are with that.
There's no other type of person in the world that I don't understand. I don't.
Like, I am more okay with furries than I am with
I mean, they're really almost the same thing.
Close to it. At least they don't, they don't sexualize children's cartoons, in a sense. They make their own kind of thing. And that, I'm okay with that. But
I don't know if I've told you this little story. I may have.
It's fine.
But I was at our local game shop a while back.
Oh, yeah.
And I was perusing all of his like magic cards and Dungeons and Dragons stuff and all that whatnot.
Yeah.
And it was right after they opened, and it was just the guy that owned the store and one guy that works for him. Just the three of us in there. And the two of them were talking about selling off a bunch of their merchandise in bulk, trying to clear up some room in the shop and just get rid of stuff that he doesn't want there anymore. Mm-hmm. And I say, you know what? If you're trying to get rid of all your stuff in bulk, I will buy your D&D stuff. I'll give you like $50 for all of your stuff, or something like that. And he says, no, actually, the only things I want to keep are D&D and Magic. So I'm not going to sell off the D&D stuff in bulk. He says, actually, I have a bunch of people that are interested in D&D now, so I'm going to start ordering more stuff. I was like, oh, that's awesome. Mm-hmm. And he says, yep, on Thursdays, starting this week, I'm going to start doing my own Dungeons & Dragons game for people that you could show up and watch or you could show up and join. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, that's awesome. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
What kind of game do you plan on doing?
Uh-oh.
And I swear to God, I'm not making this shit up. He says, I'm going to do a D&D game where we'll follow the rules of D&D 3.5, but it's going to be my own little spin on it, where you will be playing as ponies instead of elves and dwarves and stuff like that. And it'll be the same stuff, like you can be a knight or a paladin or something like that, but it'll be set in the My Little Pony world, and we'll be playing as ponies. I haven't spoken to that man since then, because, he's a grown-ass fucking man. Yeah. I can't always rag on people for the things they like, because, I buy comic books.
Yeah.
Some people don't think that an adult like myself should be buying superhero comics.
I fucking love Sonic. An adult like myself should love Sonic. Quote unquote.
That whole thing. We shouldn't be playing Pokemon or things like that. So I get it.
Yeah.
It's a little hypocritical for me to rag on people for what they like.
Of course.
But god damn it, there's no reason for an adult man to be so fucking crazy about My Little Ponies that he will fuck a pillow and spend 5 hours of his Thursday afternoon pretending to be a pony.
Yes. And
I don't have a pillow shaped like Thor that I fuck in the ass.
I don't have one for a Sonic.
You want me to get you one?
Thomas? But
all right, can we move on? Because
I just want to say that I understand there are the good parts to bronies, but I will not stand for a documentary to only focus on the good and never focus on bad, and that is just terrible. That is terrible reporting. That is awful.
It's just a biased documentary.
It's a completely biased documentary, and because it's so biased.
Granted, other than maybe National Geographic or something,
course.
I think every documentary is biased on some point of view. Like the Blackfish thing that I watched a while back.
Yeah.
At no point in that movie does SeaWorld get to defend itself.
Yeah.
Granted, I honestly don't think they can, but the documentary was about SeaWorld being shitty and not being able to take care of their animals and stuff.
But they're
not going to interview SeaWorld and
and do that. Because SeaWorld would always deny for comment anyways. Most big corporations
actually,
do.
I think they mentioned that they tried to get SeaWorld to talk, and SeaWorld denied them. Yeah. And that was because they knew that the whole thing was just going to be
blown up,
slander.
Yeah. And the thing is, though, at that points in times, those are more serious documentaries presenting a view on a serious matter in senses.
Yeah.
Documentaries like Bronies, it's not a serious matter. If you want to spin it around, be like, oh, there are children that get beat up every day for liking My Little Pony and all this other stuff. That's not...
Where did I see that recently?
A little kid had a book bag, and
that was
it. The school considered it bully triggering or whatever, which is a completely new thing I've never heard.
I love it now. I love that.
Yeah, that's
how dumb that is. That
right. bully triggering.
That, like, this kid in an elementary school, where was it?
Actually, it was really relatively close to here.
I want to say I saw it on News 13 when I was at work, and that usually talks about local stuff.
Yeah. It's somewhere around North Carolina.
A elementary school student had a My Little Pony book bag.
Yeah, yeah.
And he was getting bullied at school because of his backpack. And instead of the school taking action against the bullies, they forced the kid to get a new backpack because they think that the backpack is the reason why he's being bullied, and the backpack is the cause of the problem. Now, I just spent the last few minutes like shitting on bronies and stuff,
and I was about to say the same thing.
But if a 6-year-old kid wants to wear a fucking My Little Pony backpack, don't take that away from him.
Exactly.
That's stupid on more than one level.
Yeah.
Like
the thing that I don't like about most cultures when it comes to bronies or furries or anything else, furries you can sort of excuse because that's really what most of this culture was actually like brought up on. Tomato, potato, whatever. Is overly sexualizing things. But it gets worse when it's overly sexualizing children things. And that's where I draw the line. That's where I say, enough is enough, you should stop. You should not do this, you should stop. And they'll always say, well, not everyone does that, not everyone does this. But that is the thing that you are known for. And that's what you're just not going to get by. You're not going to get by it. Because that's when people look at that, they are looking at you watching a children's show, and you're saying, oh, but the writing's great, the direction is great, the design is great, the art is great. But you can't say that. You won't say that for other shows that look exactly like that and do the exact same thing. But you will only do it because it's My Little Pony.
I have no idea how many times I've been told that My Little Pony is good because of like the amazing plot and such good writing and such good lessons and morals and stuff. I've never watched a whole episode. I've only seen about 5 minutes.
I've seen 2 episodes.
Okay, you're ahead of me. I've seen 5 minutes of an episode, and it was literally 2 ponies like helping each other count the apples that they were knocking out of a tree. Like a pony was like kicking a tree and knocking apples out of it, and they're like, "Are we gonna have enough apples to make our pie? Let's see if we have enough." I'm like, guys,
where are the morals here? And okay, let me just add to this. Whenever people say, like, it has such good morals, I'm like, every other cartoon for children present the exact same.
Fucking Nick Jr.
Dude, like, if you really feel like this whole thing has great morals, then I want you to watch a fucking episode of Nick Jr. The whole channel of Nick Jr. Fucking Arthur did better at fucking presenting morals than your ass right now. So go fuck yourself. I'm tired of this shit. Little Bear is...
Franklin the Turtle.
Franklin the Turtle did better. And you're not sexualizing him. Anyways, I give Brony documentary a 2 out of 10 because it does not talk about the actual bad of this culture. It only
By the way, Jeffrey, we've just lost half our viewers because half of our viewers were pillow fucking bronies.
Well, you know what?
Whoa! Alright, yeah.
We'll gain them back a different way. We'll give them beer, because we didn't offer you any beer. Oh my goodness, hello.
Sorry, that's only available for our for regular episodes.
Oh, well,
alright, let's try to wrap this up.
Yeah, let's do that.
I also saw Fellowship of the Ring again last night. It's an amazing movie. If you haven't seen it, watch it.
Great. We're going to do a speed round for this?
9 out of 10. If you watch the extended version, 10 out of 10. I also saw The Dark Knight. I mentioned that earlier. Such a good movie. It's one of the only good Batman movies there is. 9 out of 10.
Want me to go?
Yeah,
I'll do my last 2 movies.
All right.
I watched the Sonic the Hedgehog OVA. Speaking of Sonic, it's the one that came out in the 1990s.
Did we watch that together a couple
years
ago?
Yes, we did.
Yeah, that's the one with Metal Sonic, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not good.
It's not good, but it makes me laugh for days.
Right.
Especially when Sonic's like, "Shut up, Taz!" Live for that. 8 out of 10. Would watch again. Last movie on my list. Oh, wait, what were you going to say?
No, go.
Okay, last movie on my list. Need for Speed.
Oh, yeah. An actual movie.
Actual movie. I'm going to go ahead and say, honestly, wasn't that bad. 7 out of 10. good practical effects, shit dialogue. Basically, if you played the game Need for Speed The Run, you've watched the movie. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Honestly, it's a rental for when it actually comes out if you want an action movie. But even then, that's also kind of pushing it. Right. But yeah, I think that's it for me.
Would you recommend people go see it if it's still in theaters?
If you have nothing to do and money to spare. If you want an action movie and you just want to lose your mind for a little while, go right on ahead.
Would you say it is better or worse than the recent Fast and Furious?
It's hard to, after watching the movie, it's actually hard for me to put them in a category because they both focus on different things. The Fast and Furious movies focus on family. That's their biggest theme. This was literally just focusing on, it's a race, revenge kind of thing.
Okay.
Honestly, when you watch the movie, you can tell that they spent the most money on the cars than they actually did on the special effects that there are very few of anyways. There were really good stunts in it, like cool stunts themselves. But they also make you think, like, that shouldn't have happened because the car shouldn't have been at that angle when it went over the fucking hedge. But, whatever. We'll go past that.
Can I stop?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Back to The Dark Knight.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was told a joke at work the other day. That is terrible. It's a bad joke. It's like a
bad as in haha.
It's bad. It's bad as in like it's too soon. Kind of thing. Now, normally I wouldn't repeat this kind of joke, but I'm gonna
for the sake of time.
Do you know like I think it was where was it like Aurora?
Yeah,
Aurora shootings.
Yeah.
Where right during the screening of Dark Knight Rises, a man shot up the theater.
Yeah.
Again, I'm sorry. This is a terrible joke, but I was caught off guard by it.
It is okay. I've said worse jokes in my time.
So I'm sure you know about this. That after those shootings, that Christian Bale actually showed up at the hospital to meet some of the shooting victims. Mm-hmm. And like take pictures with them and you get to meet Batman, that sort of thing. So this guy at work tells me this joke. He says, Christian Bale showed up at the hospital after the Aurora shootings. Some of the shooting victims got to meet Christian Bale. The rest of them got to meet Heath Ledger. I was like, oh my god.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Oh man. Oh my goodness.
It caught me so off guard. It had nothing to do with it. We weren't talking about Batman or anything. He just comes up next to me. He's just like, "Hey,
hey, how's it going? Let me tell you a joke."
Insert joke, and I'm just like,
you didn't scoop.
I'm sorry. I
understand.
I don't endorse those sort of jokes, but there it is. Take it or leave it.
Yep.
All right. I have one last movie on my list.
All right, go ahead.
This one I think we can actually talk about.
Cool.
I watched Curse of Chucky.
Oh, I forgot you said that. All right, what did you think? I want to know before I tell you what I thought.
I think it is the pinnacle of Chucky movies, which in itself is a shallow pool of shit.
It really is. Yes. Oh my god. It was. Oh gosh, that movie.
It's like, I think at this point I've seen all the Chucky movies.
Okay.
I could be wrong. I could be missing some of them.
It's fine. Yeah, the first 3 Child's Play, Seed of Chucky, Bride of Chucky,
Seed of Chucky, Curse of Chucky.
Yeah.
This was a very more serious one. Like, they try to cut back on some of the jokes.
They did, yeah.
There were a couple.
Yeah.
Like, he had a couple one-liners, like, while he was killing somebody or something like that. But, if you're watching it just for the kills, I think you'd be disappointed.
You would.
Because, first of all, there's only, like, 3 or 4.
Yeah.
And they're not. I don't think any of them are particularly creative.
No.
Or
they're really, the kills in Curse of Chucky were really retreading old ground in a sense.
Just stab a woman in the eye, she dies. Throw her down the stairs. Oh, I forgot about the electrocuting. Yeah. And then rat poison.
Yeah. Which that scene actually about the whole rat poisoning, which one had the suit kind of thing. I thought that was a very interesting scene.
I looked it up. Like forums threads about the movie afterwards, and a lot of people say that the best scene in the movie was the rat poison scene, where the camera's just circling the table and you don't know who's eating this chili with the rat poison. Yeah, I knew who it was as soon as the scene started. Did you?
Yes.
Like everybody kept on saying like it was such a tense scene because you didn't know, but I don't.
I like the way it was filmed in a sense, like more so than anything.
I kind of get it. Like I get the whole. Oh, I wonder who it is. The tense, but, and I'm not trying to sound like oh man, I'm so good at watching movies. I knew exactly who it was. I don't know. I wasn't trying to be like. It's just like as soon as the scene started, I knew who it was.
Because I mean, of course, it was going to be a character that's not going to be.
It had to be the guy that was like useless to the story.
Exactly.
And I don't know, it's just the way it was filmed or something like that, the way they kept on showing his face, like, you knew it was him. Yeah. And so when he died, I wasn't surprised.
Neither was I.
I was just like, yeah, it was him.
Yeah. I thought they were trying really hard during that. And really, okay, this Curse of Chucky was really... At first it was going to be a remake of Child's Play.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was.
It was going to be. Oh.
It was a sequel.
Yeah, it was a sequel
to all the others.
Yeah. They were really going to call it Child's Play, and they were doing a completely different movie. But they just couldn't get the interest enough to do a remake of Child's Play. So, Curse of Chucky came along. And it's... Basically, Curse of Chucky is there, in a sense, just to get people... One, to understand the type of tone that they want to go for if they ever do a remake for Child's Play. Two, to just provide provide people with a taste of Chucky that they haven't had since Seed of Chucky. Yeah. And three, just to keep the property interesting in a sense. And I will say, yeah, it did do that. I mean, I was excited for it at first. When I watched it, I said, you know what? That was actually one of the better Chucky movies to ever come along. That was actually one
Granted, I don't really remember a lot about the other Chucky movies.
I would actually say that Child's Play 2 is one for it to try and reach. I actually really enjoyed Child's Play 2. And then it would be hard. I can't even think about ranking all the movies. I think Child's Play 2, then Child's Play 1. Maybe it'd be a weird tie between Bride and 3 and then Seed. But, like, Curse of Chucky's, like, at the top now. Like, it's in that 1-2 kind of function. Because of what they try to do with it and what I understood that they were trying to do with it. Of course, having Brad Dourif's daughter in there as the main character. That main girl, that's Brad Dourif's daughter, the voice of Chucky. So that was funny, in a way. They had... I don't know if you watched the end credits, or after credits.
Yeah. Okay, I was going to say, this movie had more endings than Lord of the Rings.
Yes.
This movie kept on ending, and then a new scene would start.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I thought that was your phone, too. I was like, why is your phone making that squeaking noise?
Right.
Oh, shit, what is this? Oh, I almost knocked your drink over.
Is there no worries.
All right.
We're good.
Yeah, this movie, every time... it would end, and then another scene starts, and it would end, and another scene would start. Yeah. But yeah, I did stay all the way through.
Did you know who the last character was?
Yeah, it was the kid from the first couple movies.
I met him. That was a cool thing. I got to shake his hand and say, thank you for giving me nightmares.
Now, it is...
It let me burn my dolls when I was little, thanks.
Now, I am to understand that, spoiler alert, again, if you give a shit about Chucky movies. Yeah, like one person... Jeffrey. He opens up the box at the end. Yeah. And the kid is standing right there with the shotgun pointed at his face. It's just like, what does he say? What was the last one-liner?
Oh, wow.
Nice try, or I don't know, something like that.
Like, I don't know. It was something.
Just gives a one-liner and then blows his head off.
Yeah.
That's the end. Chucky's dead.
Nope.
Yes.
More
Yes,
or less.
he's dead.
He's dead.
That is it. Chucky is done. He was killed by the original kid. But,
Hopefully.
But apparently there's like 20 months or something like that happens between the end of the movie and that end credit scene.
Yeah.
Because I think they want to do another movie.
Yeah.
And they're talking about exploring what is Chucky going to do with that little girl?
Yeah.
Because there's that other ending scene of, like, something about stealing souls.
Yeah.
And the little girl's getting souls for him or something.
Yeah.
I was just like, I have no idea what the fuck is happening.
I can't even remember if Jennifer Tilly shows up in that movie. She was the bride of Chucky.
Yeah, she was in that movie.
Yeah, I thought so. She showed up.
Yeah, she killed the cop.
That's right. Yep. Gosh, I can't.
And then the movie ended, and then it started again, and she mailed him.
Yeah.
And then it ended, and then it started again with Chucky being with the little girl.
Yeah.
And then it ended, and then it started again.
Yeah.
With him getting shot in the head.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh my god, this is fucking getting stupid.
Like, man, guys, I understand you wanted it to be the Avengers type of movie of restarting, but stop it.
But yeah, that was it.
What would you give it?
Like 5 out of 10. Like,
That's
I think it's the best of the Chucky movies.
Yeah.
But then again, I think Chucky movies are shitty. So, you know, what?
Yeah, so it's like,
what more can you?
I would agree with that score completely. I did enjoy them, but I mean, I'm not going to say that they're the best fucking horror movies. No.
I did get tricked. I did get tricked by thinking the husband was cheating on his wife with the babysitter.
Oh, okay.
And it was actually the wife cheating on him with the babysitter.
Yeah, yeah.
Tricked me. You got me, guys. You fooled me.
You fooled me
Nice
once.
one. Nice one.
You won't fool me again. Ever. Because, yeah.
So,
I
I think that wraps up our bonus What'd You Watch episode.
Yeah, we're clocking in at 1:36.
Jesus Christ, we said it would be an hour!
No!
Alright, so we got, hope you guys enjoyed listening to this bullshit, and we kept our promise.
Yeah.
It was a little late, I'm sorry.
Now you have to hold up your end of the deal.
Hold up your end of the deal.
Yeah.
What was their end?
Exactly.
So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed. Check us out, our main show,
Which
Unwind
will not
Rewind.
have the Wajja Watch because we had this whole thing, so it'll be a second episode without Wajja Watch.
Normally, the Unwind Rewind episodes have a tiny Wajja Watch segment in the beginning. The next one we do won't have that.
Yep.
Because of this.
Yeah,
so
we
anyway.
each watched 6 movies, so I mean that's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways.
Have fun, guys. See ya.